Hello, everyone. My name is Denisha Poplis, and I am here yet again with Volunteers in Public Schools. So excited to have a super summer reader join us today to talk about his experience with this amazing project. Today, we have Mr. Tramelle Howard from the EBR School Board and the Education Trust. Hello, how are you?
Hey, Denisha, it's great to be here. I mean, it's still weird introducing yourself to people when normally these kind of conversations will take place in person, but it's still great to be here and in your presence to talk about a wonderful program and a wonderful experience.
Yes, yes. Well, I definitely understand that we are all adjusting. So first, let me start off by saying thank you so much for being a part of this project. We truly appreciate you sharing your time, your expertise with us. Your story time was absolutely amazing. And just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do as the Vice President of the EBR School Board and as the Louisiana External Relations and Policy Manager at the Education Trust.
That is correct. So first, again, thank you so much for the opportunity. So I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So education has always been like a pivotal point of me figuring out what I wanted to do in my life. It's weird because my journey in education was actually different. I really had in my mind I was going to be a lawyer.
Mhm.
Every day I was, working towards becoming a lawyer. Then I got to college and then totally changed my mind again. And I decided I wanted to go into accounting for a year. Then I changed again and decided I wanted to be a journalist. So I've been constantly trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. But education has always been so important to me. So I actually ended up graduating from undergrad, went to law school, and then I worked in the legal field for about 2 years. And I really felt like, it was a good experience. It was all the things they talked about. I worked in governmental law for our Office of General Counsel, but there was just always this missing piece. Like I always felt like I needed to do something more to really inspire the youth from on a ground level. And so I actually left the state working in our Office of Procurement, doing like contractual law and contractual work, and I went to join Teach for America. And it was one of those things where your parents are like, "What are you doing?"
Yes.
All this time, all this money and energy in law school, and now you're about to go teach. And I was just like, "Yeah, I think this is where my life is taking me at this moment." And I think joining Teach for America was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, because my first day in a classroom, I really felt like um, passion, my drive, and all of those things had meshed into one. And so teaching was where I wanted to be. So I spent some time in the classroom, spent some time in school, and I just kept wanting more related to what was happening in the educational system. I went to do an internship at DOE, and just learned so much about just sort of like the experience of policymaking and like how we come to have the rules and regulations that are inside of schooling. And so yeah, I decided that education was where I wanted to be. I love teaching. I love my students. I taught middle school, so it's one of those grades where you either love it or you hate it. And so I absolutely love middle school. Love my experience. Taught seventh grade English and eighth grade social studies, and I just continued to just figure out ways to continue to leave a footprint in education. And so running for office still wasn't like one of those things. I was like, oh yeah, that's the next thing to do. I mean, because I always felt when I saw politicians, like I just felt like it just seemed so tense to be a politician, to have to always have people watching your every move, and like it just feels like you can't do or be who you are and be a politician. And so I was like, nah, I'm not running for office. But I met a mentor who kind of just talked to me about the experience and the importance of people who represent the community serving in that capacity. And so, I did some research. I went to a policy convention in DC, and it was just young African American men and women who wanted to change the world through elected office. And I left there so inspired and just empowered to do the work of the people. And I came back, ran for school board. I ran against an 8-year incumbent, and I won the election, becoming the youngest person ever elected to our school board here in Baton Rouge. And it has been such a rewarding experience to just be able to serve this community, serve this city, and just really give back to the city that's meant so much to me and to my life. And so Baton Rouge has always been home. It's always had a special place in my heart. And so any opportunity I give to help other people be inspired to do the work in Baton Rouge is one that I cherish, and I'm so thankful that I've had the opportunity to do it. And being on school board kind of led me into the work that I do. Many people think that being a school board official, that's your job. It's not. I mean, we get a monthly stipend. It's not a full-time job. So to the world out there, I want everybody to know that like most of your school board members have to have additional means of income to survive, and that's just the reality of public service. But so I do have a full-time job. I work for a phenomenal education organization called the Education Trust. And so our mission is really to create better experiences and advocate for better experience for Black and brown students and low-income students across the nation. And I get up every day knowing that education saved my life. And so not only do I get to fight that fight on the school board, but I also get to fight that fight in my 9-to-5 by working for this organization. And that's literally what I do. I go out and advocate for policies that will help ensure that African-American students and students of color and students from low-income families will have the best possible experience inside of classrooms, inside of school buildings. And I'm honored to serve in that organization. We are led by a phenomenal leader, John King, who was a former Secretary of Education for Barack Obama. And so it's just so much inspiration and so much hope working for an organization that really calls out its mission and is unapologetic about its mission. And so, yeah, I enjoy it. I'm thankful that now, like my family can now see that like, my education experience in the classroom mixed with my law degree is actually, there's a career for that. Right. And so like they mesh very well into a career. And I just always encourage people to create your own path because society will try to force you into so many doors and box you into so many positions. But it's up to you to really create your own path and find your own unique happiness. And I'm so thankful that I decided to step out on faith. And I really believe that I found that my purpose and my God-given purpose. And I'm truly thankful to be living it.
That is amazing. And even with all the changes in your trajectory, you still kept education at the heart and was able to mesh two different things that you thought were like on two different sides of the spectrum. That's absolutely amazing that you were able to do that. And, speaking of your experience in the classroom as a former history teacher, what are some of your thoughts on the importance of childhood literacy, especially during the summer months?
Literacy is one of those things that I just think that people don't put enough importance on the importance of literacy. I mean, we hear a lot about it when we think about campaign season and people talking about like, early childhood and the importance of early literacy and word recognition and all of those things. But it's a valuable tool. My grandparents are raising a 1-year-old, a 1-year-old little cousin, she is, but I call her my niece. And every day that I'm there, like we're always talking about like, it's just amazing how kids develop at such an early age. And so like if we could get in front of her and put in front of her the things that are like valuable as it relates to words and seeing and hearing readings, it's just invaluable. Because I mean, just imagine the power if we expose our kids to literacy at an early age and like reading targets and reading growth. And we know that reading on grade level seems to be a real problem in education these days. And so we have to expose our kids to readings. We have to reevaluate the importance of readings and reading. After going to law school, like I really decided like, I hate reading. I don't want to do this no more. I can't do this anymore. It's just so painful. But even like here recently, a group of friends of myself and a group of friends we've been talking about having to do more to help people, expose people to the importance of reading. So reading more books that, just talk about life, but just using it as a source of information through reading. Because they always say, if you want to keep something from a person, put it in a book. And that should never be the case. Like we should always be reading, always encouraging young folks to be literate, to recognize the importance of literacy and just the power in literacy. It's you literally can't get anywhere in life without it. And so like, I think that we have to be very intentional about how we expose kids to literacy and just continue to talk about the importance. And I think programs like Super Summer Readers helps engage people who kids are interested in, and talking about the importance of literacy and the importance of reading. And so I appreciate and applaud you guys for putting on such phenomenal program and getting some really cool readers to come out and read to the kids. Because I was looking at the list like, man, like I'm inspired by some of these people who are on this list. So to just be on the list with them is just indeed an honor and privilege. But yeah, so literacy is important. I mean, parents, like if it's 10 words a day, like just figure out a way to incorporate literacy into your everyday fulfillment of your child's development. And I just think that this is a great start to do that.
Yeah, and that was definitely, as you said, that was the purpose of this project, is to combat that summer reading loss, which occurs when students aren't in school, especially now. Even though they are virtual, they aren't physically in the classroom being able to, practice that skill. And with this project, we're also able to distribute 300 books to children.
Awesome.
So that they have age-appropriate books in their home. They may be starting a home library, or this is just books that they can add to that library, and then they have someone, a familiar community face that they can identify with, reading with them, and they can access that at our YouTube channel. So that was definitely the entire purpose of this project, and why we wanted to push, making sure that we have some interesting and amazing super readers to be a part. And so what sparked your interest in accepting the invitation to be a part of this project?
Well, I think life has really become full circle, in the sense that one of the things as a student that I dreaded the most was when my mom came home and was like, "All right, the summer reading list is out," and I'm like, "I just read these summer books. It's the summer. It's the summer for a reason. We need to just let's just chill. Like we'll get there when we get there." But now as an adult, you always say, like, if I could write a letter to my 12-year-old self or my 10-year-old self, like I would say, or I would do. And one of the things that I would have really taken a lot more serious was summer reading. It's just you can literally, in conversation with folks, you know people who read for leisure, who read for a hobby. It's just the wealth of knowledge that you gain from reading is just one that is, you can't quantify it. It's just so important. And so the reason that I accepted the opportunity is because I know my younger self, and I wish that there were more opportunities for me to engage with summer reading with people who I looked up to in the community. So without a doubt, when the opportunity came about, I knew that I would take on the challenge and read the book, because I just know the importance of summer reading, and I know also that it's really hard to help encourage and engage kids in reading. So like anything that I could do to help them engage, and that was something that I would, without a doubt, was going to do. And so that's what really sparked my interest. I knew the student that I was, and I knew that what I needed was someone like me to come and read to me and help me understand and empower in reading. Because that's why I accepted the opportunity, and I look forward to more opportunities to help have this conversation and increase the dialogue around reading.
Yes. And your book was Pete the Cat's Train Trip by James Dean. And I truly loved the way you inflected your voice and the corresponding sound effects that you made. It really kept me engaged. So I'm sure you tapped into your inner child, because I was like, this is amazing.
Good, I appreciate that.
With your read, what do you think that kids will be able to connect with this book?
Yeah, it's just one of those, the book was just very interesting. First of all, because I like to travel. So anything that talks about being on a train or anything, it's just interesting to me. Now, cats are not my favorite animal, but I was well, it's okay. I enjoy traveling. I enjoy telling stories about traveling, and really the importance of travel meets literacy, and just people experiencing travel in a way. So I just think that kids will be able to follow the story, to understand what was his mission, what were they on the train to do, and what were they looking for, and who were they looking for. I think it embodies the importance of relationships, and embodies the importance of just loving on kids, and showing them that they can do anything that they put their mind to, and just those words of affirmation that kids often need, because society will do a lot to tear kids down and tear down their spirit of just being a kid. And so just having a book that just allows them to be that free spirit of being a kid and just showing the importance of love while on the train. I mean, it's just one of those things that will help kids in any skill set that they're looking to develop. So yeah, it was a very interesting book. It was interesting also reading like the way you guys projected the book, and so you don't actually look at the book with the green screen. And I was like, wait, what is going on? Am I gonna look crazy? But you guys did a good job.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you. That was actually my next question about your overall experience of Super Summer Reader. How would you rate that experience? With some interesting details about, just being contacted to actually doing your read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the green screen. I mean, so and we talked a little bit about my extensive, like the things that I wanted to do in life. But one of the things that I graduated from undergrad in broadcast journalism, and so my first job in broadcasting was as a production assistant for KATC in Lafayette. And I was so amazed because, like, as a kid growing up, even as an adult, like, I never understood like how the weatherman projected their stories and like were able to do all this. So my first time seeing a weather forecast on a green screen was just so amazing to me because you can do so much with a green screen. Like, I was like, wait, like Dave Baker, shout out to Dave Baker, he was my weatherman when I was a production assistant. And I was like, this is so cool. And so like to be reading from a green screen and you guys are able to just project. I mean, I think that was pretty amazing. And if you're interested in green screening, like, it should be a super summary.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this project and being a VIPS 2020 Super Summer Reader. Do you have a final message for parents or children to encourage them to continue reading?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like thank you guys so much for continuing to be a pillar in the community, to project just like positive and uplifting change. And this is one of those things, like, in a world where everything has become so politicized, like you have this versus that on every single issue. Like, reading is like that fundamental issue that can unify so many people, because it allows you to just really engage in a topic of learning. And it's really all about learning in your own personal development by choosing what you read, what authors you read from. But I think that this is a great opportunity just to continue to showcase the importance of reading. No matter where you see yourself fall politically or any other thing, like, reading is fundamental to learning and growth. And so, like, sometimes, you may not want to do it, but I encourage parents. There's so many different ways to read. Like, you can read books, you can read ebooks. There's just so many different ways to engage in literacy these days. So like I said earlier, just find a way to make it a part of your routine. And the beauty of it is you can take it at your own page. So like, if that means that you're telling your kids to read a page a night of a book for a month, like that's 30 pages of reading that they wouldn't have done otherwise. If that's, before you can, while we're traveling to church, like, take out some ways to engage. It's vitally important. And I think that the more readers and the more people pay attention to literacy, the better our world will become. And so, yeah, reading is important. It is, like everyone says, it's fundamental, but it is also life-changing. I've read some life-changing, powerful things inside of books. So I encourage you guys to pick up a book, read, and make it a part of your daily routine.
Well, thank you so much for those encouraging words. I want to encourage everyone to circle back this Thursday at 12 p.m. to watch Mr. Tramelle Howard read Pete the Cat's Train Trip by James Dean. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.